the origin and growth of Softlink?
Uh, See, in fact, I am an electronic engineer by education, and I did my electronic engineering in the year 1986, and after that I came to Bombay. I started serving in a company called IDM. It was created by the acts, as you know, 77, the IBM and Coke were driven out of the country. So the employees which were left, they started a company called IDM, and I was working in that company in around 86. And I've worked in almost nearly 6 months in one department, 6 months in production, actually assembling computer, R&D, research and development, doing all the research. But then I realized ki I was not happy. I was not happy. So then I started exploring what I can do. I told you my background. I'm coming from my father died at a very early age, so my mother actually brought me up. So I was not having any money. What to do? So then I started, some business, something, see, you can say it's a genetic problem. I'm Marwadi. So some genetically you are wired in such a way that you cannot work. So you don't have any choice. But at that time, I suddenly left the job, or in fact, I have not even resigned. I suddenly one day I stopped going to the company, and then I thought what to do. So I experimented many things. I wanted to uh, make or start a factory for making beer. At that time, beer was licensed. So I went to even a person called Jania Lawyer. She was the chairman of a company called London Pilsner. At that time in Bombay, London Pilsner was the very famous brand. And imagine, I was at that time, I think 21, 22, sitting in front of a chairman, not having, maybe coming by a bus from outside, and then entered his office. I want to make a beer factory. So, I experimented with many these kind of things. Ultimately, while doing this, and my mother was very worried. She was always thinking what he's doing, because obviously she was very hopeful about me, and she has put in all her energies towards my studies, and I was her only. I'm having a small brother also, but I was the main focus of her. So she was very much worried. So there, she then asked me to meet one Mr. Naren Gupta. He was actually my mother's brother, his friend, and he was in Bombay, and he was running a logistic company, means from the logistics segment, which is customs agent, CHA. He was a CHA at that time. So when I talked to him, he said, "Okay, I Amit, I have so working." So at that time, I thought again, my system brain started working. I had done electronic engineering, but at that time, as you know, your computer was not even there. We used to work on System 4, HCL System 4, which was a mainframe or a mid-frame computer, which is commonly at that time known as. So I had done some COBOL programming. I had done some Fortran. I had done some Pascal. Those were the three basic language which we used to do. So when I sat with him and I saw the bill of entry was this big at that time. It was nearly running in 15 inches. Now, as you know, printer width is maximum 13 inches. So then the question came to me how I can do the printing of it. So my R&D years in or 6 months of R&D, what I had done in IDM. At that time, I had worked on a very interesting project, printing on computer with the Russian characters, because IDM got the order for some huge amount of printers to be exported to Russia. Unfortunately, they were all US made computers. We used to print A, B, C, D, but not the Russian characters. So we were asked to work on the Russian character. So there we got an internal how the printer actually prints. Unlike today where you select the font and it prints, it is basically at that time printing mechanism used to reside within the printer itself. What character he has to print, and from the computer there is only the instruction which used to go. So we changed the character set. So that helped me, or that made me think I can do a similar thing. A is like this. So when you have to print A, and suppose width of this is much more than the printer width, but its height is smaller. So what I did, I entered the printer in this way, and A was printed like this. Now it seems like a child play because you have got a you simply have a landscape and a simple thing. But at that time it was a big technological breakthrough. Somebody imagining okay, you can print A, and if I enter this printing like this and A prints, then when I turn it over, it is normal. So that technique I used, and I created a software which can do such kind of printing. And at that time even the bill of entry and the custom duty calculations was very difficult. We used to have a 19 appendix policy almost running into I think 500-600 pages, which nowadays is hardly 80 pages policy. Your tariff was running into huge amount of notification, number of notification were very high. So I created a software for my own company. I joined with it. So for my own company, let me help you out. I don't like some girl. So you do the calculation by hand, and then you give it to somebody who again types it. So I created this software. This was and named it as Impacts, import export Impacts. So that was the name given to it, and it's for my own company, not for anybody else. When we started the company and when the bill of entry gone to the customs, somebody at that time it was not electronic. Nowadays we just file, you can file the bill of entry sitting over here. So you have to take the bill of entry inside the customs. Then people saw, come on, how it is printed. So then the the clerk who used to go, they said no, in our office we are printing by the printer. So then people came to us, okay, give us the software. Then idea was born, why don't we start a company to sell this software? This was somewhere around about 1991. So then the idea was born, okay, why don't we start this company? Idea of Softlink was born. Okay, let's name this company as Softlink. And this product came into being. So there I got the connection with the logistics. Okay, in fact, in my starting days with my uncle, I used to carry this bill of entry inside the customs and get it cleared. Off the record, pay money, underhand, overhand, whatever way you want, but get the system cleared. So that exposed me to the intricacies involved in the logistics segment, first hand view, and that helped me to create this my first software.